Hey everybody, it's Peter Gould here, co-creator and showrunner of this season, and this is episode 605, Black and Blue.
Hi, Alison Tatlock here, writer-producer, writer of this episode.
And Thomas Golubic, the music supervisor.
And Skip Macdonald, the editor of the episode.
Thomas, what are we listening to?
This is lovely, isn't it? This is Pink Martini and the Von Trapps doing the vocals. In Stille Nacht is the name of the song. It's a Brahms piece, given a really lovely kind of adaptation by Pink Martini, which is a band that Thomas Lauderdale leads. It's a lovely, lovely piece of music.
Yeah. And it worked beautifully against the images. It just came out amazing.
And, Matt Cradle was our DP for this sequence. He's an ace camera operator, and in this case, stepped in as the DP.
Now, I believe the reason, am I right in thinking the reason he was DPing this was because the rest of the crew was shooting something else at the same time?
Exactly. We had a set for the boxing match, with upcoming scene, and at a different part of the location we designated to shoot this sequence. So we had two shows being shot at once, essentially, two very different worlds, and I was running back and forth between the two.
But in the same location.
Yes.
And that's what you call great producing. And this episode was directed by our really brilliant, one-of-a-kind executive producer, Melissa Bernstein, who this is the second episode she's directed, and she did just an incredible job. Melissa and I go way back. She and Vince were the two people at my job interview when I interviewed to work on the first season of Breaking Bad. So she's everybody here has just so much respect and love for her. She's one of the great leaders I've ever met in my life, and she is also, it turns out, a hell of a director.
Yeah,
Yes.
She is. She directed an episode of mine in season 5, and I was so excited because we got to work together again. And I would say also I am here in this job in large part because of her. So also very grateful.
Something we share.
That's right.
There you go. Now, why all that hullabaloo about a slide rule?
We felt like we needed some iconic Werner item. And my memories, we talked about what that might be quite a lot. We had various pitches, but the slide rule felt like it was old-fashioned in the right way and would really symbolize him.
Yeah, and I think people will pick up right away that it was in a meaning of Werner.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's a beautifully cut sequence. I think Melissa definitely had an idea about how those images went together, but Skip, I just saw you work magic.
Well, we were trying a lot of different things, and Melissa did have ideas, but then we all combined our ideas and slowly worked it and got it to this end.
I just love it. It's very poetic.
It's gentle.
It's very wistful,
solemn, and has a sweetness to it.
Yeah, and it feels like we're taking our time through it. We weren't rushing. The images weren't rushing, so it was really a little bit different than some of our other montages.
That's true. And it's a different way to start an episode, that's for sure. And of course, here we have another, it's not really a montage, but a sequence about Kim being a little bit paranoid.
Yes. This is our Kim is on edge.
She knows something that Jimmy doesn't.
Yes.
I'm sure she's going to tell him, though, right? She's got to tell him about...
She'll just let it all come out.
Tell him about Lalo. This would be a good time to do it, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray is such a brilliant actor, and there's so much on her face, in her expression, that we can just watch her without dialogue all day long. See her kind of grappling.
Yes.
Now, Alison, why do you think Kim right now, what do you think is going through her head about Lalo and Jimmy?
I think she's feeling that she should tell him this is her life partner and her love, and she wants to be honest. When they decided to get married, they had a deal that they would tell each other the truth. And she also just knows that things will not go down the way she wants them to go down if she shares what she knows.
I think you're right. For me, figuring this out, figuring that Mike was going to tell Kim that Lalo was still alive and that Kim in turn was not going to tell Jimmy, that, for me, that was what made the season. When we had that, and a couple other things too that people may or may not have seen yet, that's when I felt like, okay, this is, I'm very excited about this. This is a great way for the story to turn.
It's a true crack in the foundation of their relationship.
It is, and it's such a. I'm so interested in that decision, and I'm fascinated by the implications. So yeah, I think that really was a big turning point for us in the writers' room, I think.
Yeah, because we needed to understand what is it that is going to send her further down the path. Mm-hmm. We've set her on the path.
Yeah.
What's the next thing?
Although nothing's preordained. And she's definitely choosing the road to hell.
Yeah.
Written by Alison Tatlock. Yay! And Melissa really did a wonderful job on this. She does the thing that's amazing about Melissa, in addition to the fact she's also producing the show. So it's not like she stopped producing. She took a vacation from producing to direct an episode. Somehow she did those jobs at once, and I don't really know how she did it, because when I'm directing, I feel like I can barely keep up. So she's truly an exceptional person.
And she's really wonderful with actors. Mm-hmm. Melissa is. You know, actors, I think, feel there's a lot of trust for her.
I mean, I think it helps. The whole cast knows her, and she's been working with them, you know, since they started. And in Giancarlo's case, you know, she might very well have been the first person he met when he got to Albuquerque to shoot the first episode he was in of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So there's a tremendous benefit to having these relationships that go way back. And now I'm feeling very sad because as I speak, we've finished the season, we finished the show, and we're all having to start new relationships,
clinging to each other.
I don't like it. Hopefully, we all get to work together again.
Yeah, but I would imagine it makes it easier for the director when they know the cast, because they have a better working relationship.
Yes, the job of the TV director is so challenging when someone truly is coming in new and long established characters, and trying to dive right in fresh is so hard. And it's very cool as the writer on set to be able to work with Melissa, who has history with all these folks and understands the psychology and the world in such depth.
Yeah.
Sir, I would be happy to help you.
We're really thinking here about what Gus is under more stress than we've ever seen him before. He's not the Gus Fring who we knew on Breaking Bad just yet. And so we wanted to get into his head a little bit here.
Yes, we talked about these Gus little cracks in the Gus demeanor quite a lot in the room, because he often presents as invulnerable. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to shake that up just a little bit so we could see different sides of him.
And
here's Lyle, who we all love.
Terrific Harrison Thomas, who I just learned this season is actually the son of one of my favorites from television, Dave Thomas from Second City Television, SCTV. And if you haven't watched SCTV, well, you're missing something. It's the same group that John Candy was in, and Joe Flaherty and Rick Moranis, and he's just great. So Harrison Thomas comes from comes from royalty.
Great
in my
lineage.
book.
Yes, and he was very quiet about it.
Speaking of great lineage, here's Jessie Innes, John Innes's daughter, and also a fantastic actor, and also Ed Begley Jr., son of Ed Begley, who was in 12 Angry Men. We have a lot of Hollywood royalty here.
It's a second generation fest.
Unfortunately, high-stakes class actions like these often...
We have a Friday Night Lights favorite.
That's right. She's great.
Protracted timeline, if you know what I mean.
My son thinks I should get my own lawyer.
I was very excited to work with Jessie for the first time. Aaron Brill is such a fun character to write. And Ed Begley Jr. is one of the true beautiful gentlemen of the universe. He brings such a gracious energy to everything.
Yeah, it's a great set if you have both Patrick Fabian and Ed Begley on the set. Then you know you're going to have a good time because they're both just delightful, supportive, there to have fun, but also just brilliant actors.
This was during some challenging COVID times, shooting this scene. And we were so worried, remember, in the writer's room, thinking about getting a group of people, a group of older people, into an enclosed space and how we would do that safely. And so, of course, great care and precautions were taken so that we could all be here without masks and play the scene as written.
It's so fun to watch Patrick as Howard just taking over the room and slowly winning everyone one by one.
Being his charming self.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see this. I think you see why he's actually the name partner at this place. He is good. He's good with people. He's good with people in a really different way from Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. I also enjoyed that Aaron Brill would be impressed by him and not feel threatened or irritated that he stepped in. I know we talked about that a lot.
She seems like somebody who's really good with the law, and you know she's going to learn to have the common touch as she gets further along in her career. That's how I see her anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's not putting up with Jimmy. That's for damn sure.
In the middle of the street.
We talked a lot about Ed's character, Cliff Main, having a painful past in his own family with his own son, having grappled with addiction. We don't have to spell it out a whole lot, but just to know that that was part of his story really informed not only this scene, but his whole relationship with Howard moving forward. Mm-hmm. And Ed was so sensitive to that. He really got it.
I thought that was a great idea. I don't know how that came up in the writer's room, but it was one of those things that just gives the character some depth. And also, it's interestingly enough, the whole first half of this season really turns on Ed's character, on what's going on with Cliff, and what is Cliff thinking.
Yeah.
I like how the hood ornaments play in the scene. It's a little bit of the Battle of the Jaguar.
Yeah. And also, Ed gives you a lot of choices in scenes like this. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not just one place. He gives you much more emotional moments that you can choose from to get him in a place you'd like.
And Skip, do you find when you have such an embarrassment of riches like that sometimes it's just hard to make a decision? You go back and forth and back and forth?
Yeah, and the thing is, once you make a decision, you kind of have to stick with that range that they're giving you, and it's like, is this the right way?
Yeah.
So it's difficult, and no choice is bad, but it's difficult to make that first decision on what's going to work best.
Because you really are telling the story one way or another. You know, we grapple with that, of course, like choosing the best line, and I certainly have had moments of like, it could be this, it could be that. So I can only imagine that when you're doing your part of the craft.
Yeah. It's challenging some days.
Yeah.
Francesca.
So here we have Francesca.
And what's the music that's playing here?
This is super fun. This is Wilson Phillips' Release Me. We figured this is one of the few moments that she has any joy in her life, and this optimism that this is going to work out okay, which quickly falls apart. And We just thought, let's give her something really fun and poppy and contemporary of the time period. She's having a good day. She's about to start a great job. And this is the reality of what she's stepping into.
And Thomas, am I right to say that you have been nominated for an Emmy for your work on this episode?
Oh, you're kind to bring it up. Yes, for this episode. Which is
Congratulations. Well deserved.
Yeah, thank you. And I think we have a famous member of our team on this particular shot, correct?
That's right. Rich Sickler. That's on the left. That's Rich Sickler is Mohawk Man. This was our first AD for this episode. He's doing all the odds this season.
The multi-talented Rich Sickler.
He's a remarkable person and really fun and a really generous spirit and just damn good at his job. He's really a special guy.
Brings such a great energy
yes.
to the set.
Just going back to the Wilson Phillips song, I remember it was brought up with us from the powers that be. That was an awfully expensive song to use. I think we used 7 seconds.
Yes.
They said, you're paying all that money for 7 seconds? And Melissa explained, but this is Francesca.
Yes.
This is Francesca's entrance. And as soon as she said that, the powers that be understood, because it does immediately understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And we, of course, haven't seen her in a couple of seasons. So this is her entrance.
Yeah, we have a few of those moments in this episode, these wonderful, brief character moments. We tell you a lot about a character with just the song choice, and hopefully it resonates.
Well, that sounds Emmy-winning to me.
You should be nominated.
Yes, I think it's not just nominated.
No, you should win.
Yeah, I think winning.
Absolutely.
Let's see that.
A lot of discussion about the toilet in this room.
Yes.
Really a deep dive on the toilet, if I recall.
It
plays in more than one episode, so a lot of smart minds got to weigh in on just how disgusting it should be.
And where it should be.
Yep.
Because Ray Seehorn, of course, directed the episode before this one. And so she and Melissa really had to put their heads together, as I believe, about toilet placement, among other things.
Yeah, toilet placement is like a director class, I think.
And, you look at this raw space and you think, well, this is obviously how it was when we got there. But actually, no, this space wasn't at all like this. In fact, this space was much, much larger. Saul's office had become part of a restaurant at some point. And so it was a giant, empty, echoing place with a cinder block way in the distance and a few wooden poles here and there. And so all the walls, everything in there, that was all our art department, and treating the floor and the ceiling, it's all the art department. And they did a remarkable job as they usually do, as they always do.
This episode was fun because some of our favorites got to reappear. So Keiko.
Viola, yes.
Yes.
Thanks for meeting me.
Keiko's a wonderful actor.
I wanted to apologize.
Beautiful shot here. There's a little bit of a motif throughout the episode of beverages. Faces in beverages.
Reflections.
Yes.
You probably had.
I love how she figures out how comfortable she can be.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin.
Yeah, I liked writing this scene.
Anyway, I'm sure it's a lot.
Finding Viola.
It's interesting watching the way Skip cuts. And it's hard for me to put into words, but oftentimes, Skip, I notice you're leaving the camera on the person who's reacting or listening. Like I was just watching Keiko's reaction to Kim there, and how she was feeling warm to Kim and shy and all those things at once. And I would have missed all that if I'd just been on the person who was speaking. How do you decide who to be on in a scene like that?
It depends. To me, it depends on what the dialogue and what they're saying and what the other character's giving us. Like Keiko there gave us a lot of great stuff. You could see the transitions and the emotion changing on her. So I look for those kind of moments to start with and see how I can place them within the scene. Because you get to hear what's being said, but you also get to see the reactions versus just seeing what the person's saying.
So in your process, what do you do? The first thing you do, you look at the dailies. Are you just marking pieces that you think are especially useful?
I watch everything through, and then I have an idea of where of what exists. And then as I start building it, I remember, okay, she gave me a great look. So now I go find that one and put it in there.
Wow. So you have to have it. You have to have it all kind of in your head.
I try to keep it all there.
Wow.
It's difficult. But I think people's expressions on their faces give you just as much as the person speaking.
I couldn't agree more.
I love how Kim is wearing a different color palette in that scene, too. It's very different from her usual blues.
I think also there's this nice setup where you think, my God, it'd be so great for them to work together, but the truth is Kim is just playing her for information, which makes it almost more tragic.
That's absolutely true.
So, Francesca, I'm here. Remind me again why I'm making a house call. Sounds like money. Okay, great. Great work.
We were excited to just put Jimmy in an unfamiliar setting where we would all be wondering, why is he here? What's happening? Are we about to, meet a new character, a new client?
Mr. Ward. You're about to meet Mr. Ward, clearly.
Yeah, Mr. Ward, whoever that is.
So, are you Mr. Ward?
This character, Mackie, is named after my cat, who's kind of a tough guy.
That's great.
Yeah, am I right in thinking this is not a real boxing gym?
We created this, well, by we, I mean our incredible production designers, art department. We looked at a lot of actual boxing rings, and we did not find something that quite fit the specifications.
As in...
Yeah, as I recall, a lot of the real boxing gyms had low ceilings, and it would have made it very hard to light and shoot what's about to happen. And so, I mean, I'm kind of in awe of our art department, the way they put these things together, especially something like this that really it's in a very important scene, but it's only one scene. And so Denise and her crew, is that the actual exterior of the actual location, or is it two different places?
No, this was the same place.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I would never know it wasn't a boxing facility.
Same.
And how fun was this, Peter, when we were talking in the room about these two guys ending up in a boxing ring?
It was. I think the trick was, most of all, think about why Jimmy would go for it. It's
and this moment that we see on his face,
and making it feel like something that would he really do this, and then thinking about it, and we found a way that he would, or what he was thinking about it.
Yeah,
and Howard kind of says, you have Howard saying all the right things. Howard's trying to push Jimmy's buttons in his own way.
Yes, and he does succeed. At first, Jimmy says no.
I'm trying to give you what you want.
What I want, I don't...
It's like he knows, Howard does know Jimmy. He knows him really well. He knows him well enough to know he won't be able to turn this down.
And we're going to find out he's figured out he's being scammed.
Yeah.
One thing I always notice in this scene, now that I've seen it a few times, is just there's a train that goes by in the background at one point, and it's just that's always exciting to us.
Really
classic Albuquerque.
It's Albuquerque. It's production value. Now,
I love these moments on Bob's face where where there's one thing and then it shifts to something else.
What he did there is very hard to do.
It is.
And to make it feel natural.
Yeah.
He's stopping on a mark to have a thought. That's really impressive.
How about this music?
Now, yes, tell us about this.
Oh, my goodness. This is a duo. Kalal is the name of the artist. It is a super fun and lovely, ridiculous song called Cafe Granada, sort of a flamenco-style thing. It was sort of helping to play the bull ring a little bit in a cheeky way, but it fits so nicely in the scene, and it felt loose and natural and little improvisational, just like Jimmy here.
And how was it cutting it, Skip? This is so wonderfully edited, this whole sequence.
This, for me, was a joy to cut because there were so many options, but getting these two guys in there to make it look like they were really trying to kill each other, that was so much fun. And Melissa gave me some great options here to cut it with. And was it Luis that did the choreography for this?
Yes, Luis Moncada, who of course plays one of the cousins, is also an ace boxer and trainer.
Yeah, it's just all the pieces came together so well. It was really fun to cut this one together. And
the editing back and forth between the actors and their doubles is so impressive.
The doubles were really good.
Yeah.
The whole fight, there's a story to it. And this is something that was really carefully choreographed by Luis and Algado, our brilliant stunt coordinator. There's a story to it. It's like one guy gets up, another guy, then Jimmy does that thing that he just does there where he puts his foot on Howard's foot, all leading up to this moment. But it's really beautifully done. I think the biggest challenge was making sure they didn't turn into like brilliant boxers, that it was two middle-aged guys in reasonable shape. And I remember Bob telling me that what Luis said, you guys would be out of breath almost immediately. And once they keyed into that, I think it feels very grounded and real. It doesn't feel like it feels like it belongs with the rest of the show.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they were not vain about it at all. They did not want to seem better at boxing than would be appropriate for the characters. And Bob, of course, had done quite a bit of training in the past, and so there was some stuff he needed to unlearn. So we were reminding him not to have the correct stance and things like that.
And here's Lenny Lofton as Jandowski, who I think he's just great.
Yeah,
he's exactly the PI who Howard should hire. And I mean, spoilers. Obviously he's not who he seems to be, but I think he really carries it off. And when I watch this, I believe that Howard really has hired a PI who's going to watch Jimmy. And the trick here, actually, and it is a little bit of a trick, is that Jandowski is also checking to see that Howard's around. Because if Howard were gone completely, Jandowski wouldn't have to follow Jimmy at all. So we're playing there's a little bit of a complicated game for the people who are rewatching the episode. But this is this whole switcheroo. I think we were talking about The Sting, the movie, the classic movie, The Sting, and so I think Jimmy's seen it too. Let's put it that way.
And Lenny showed up on, this was his first moment stepping into the role, and to arrive on set, like, it was late at night. And I'm just always so impressed by actors, and they're just ready to work and ready to jump in at all hours. So now Kim is feeling so much bolder and more comfortable. We really wanted to contrast where she is in the beginning of the episode, and that she's made a decision and is feeling more brazen. She was hiding before, and now she's very exposed.
That's true. I mean, she's wondering, people could be watching her, but there's sure no evidence of it.
Such a nice ritual between the two of them, the balcony smoke and beer and waiting to come home, and this time with a bit of a wound.
I love the smile she gets when she sees him.
Yes.
She really loves him.
She lights up. I thought that was a nice touch, putting the cigarette out.
I did too, and also leaving a beer bottle perched on the balcony drives me crazy.
All the OCD people are concerned.
It's true. It's a great kind of moment of the riskiness she's entering.
I'm Saul Goodman. Pow! I fight for you.
And that's where the line begins.
How'd it go with Viola?
Boy, he just ripped everything off, didn't he, Saul Goodman?
He's a fantastic thief.
Get out of her. Nice work.
I don't know him, but I found a picture in the bar journal.
I do love that his first instinct is how to make sure he can cover this thing up.
This little moment, I remember we were talking about what does he do when she walks out of the room? And it was always a big question. And then
he found that. I feel like he found that, or he and Melissa found that.
Yeah, it's just great.
Yeah.
And there on the right is our esteemed costume designer Jennifer Bryan
That's right.
as a judge.
And if the shot were a little bit different, you'd see on the lower right, Steve Latecki, our chief lighting technician.
Yeah.
Who's also a wonderful guy who was also in the Bar Journal, apparently.
They must enjoy it when they get shots in the show of themselves like this.
I hope so. They work so hard. They certainly deserve it. We should have put you in there.
We had to think, who of our talented, hardworking people do we buy as a judge?
That's
I knew
true,
it wouldn't
right.
be me. Nobody would buy me as a judge.
I think I would buy you as a judge. Absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Good. I missed my
Absolutely.
calling.
Jennifer, too.
This is a kind of chilling little moment between the two of them.
Because you know.
I know.
They're speaking the truth.
You know what's coming next.
It feels ominous.
Except does he?
Doesn't it?
Does he really know what's coming next?
I guess in the end,
He thinks he does.
He thinks he does, exactly. But poignant that she takes his hand at that. And you just feel like this is allowing them to connect, whatever it is. And it's not good. Oh, Thomas.
Now, Thomas, what's this?
This is Toto. This is Georgie Porgy. It was so fun to figure out what would Mrs. Ryman have playing in her car and would just be thoroughly enjoyable when Mike climbs out of the trunk. And we just had such fun. We've established her taste a little bit in the previous episode, and now we kind of take it one more step further. And it's a very short use. It's an expensive use, but boy, I think we say all we need to know about Mrs. Ryman, and Mike pops out of the trunk.
The soundtrack for this episode would be quite pleasing in a certain mood.
Thoroughly enjoyable.
I think there are a few more recognizable songs in this episode than we usually do, and it
Absolutely
works great. It's because it's all about the people, what they choose to listen to.
Yeah. How are the ladies grooving is a question.
How are the ladies grooving?
And it's hard to tell.
That should be a book.
It's hard to tell a lot about a character if you don't recognize the music. You have to process it. It's nice when you immediately know what it is or you recognize the world that it comes from. I love what an honorable boss he is.
Yes, concerned about whether
How
they've
it's
eaten.
eaten.
And the actor playing Arthur Howard Ferguson is a wonderful actor, just completely comfortable, like so natural in this role, not overplayed at all.
Hey.
We talked about this a lot in the room. What Gus would be doing. Again, it's a revealing Gus episode. His behavior is a little more peculiar than we're used to seeing, which I really loved.
You get a sense that if he were further unhinged, how crazy it would get.
Yes, that he would.
Yeah. Part of the reason we set it up this way is so you can get some rest.
It's interesting. He's an OCD side, just the way Walt did in a certain way. They have certain things in common.
Maybe some of the writers in our writers' room relate to some of those tendencies. I won't say who.
I think it's great.
Maybe it's me.
I think it's great. The Rymans have a look like over Mike's shoulder a reproduction of Pinky, which I think might be at the Huntington.
The Rymans were such a nice, and they were a real couple, right? The actors playing them.
Yes, they are.
They're such a nice introduction. Just, you immediately really like both of them, and the idea that they're these dupes for Gus is just so enjoyable.
Well, I think they at least get a free house out of it.
Yeah.
It is like Pinky is sort of the angel on his shoulder.
It's really nicely done.
And seeing him in the mirror. This is a cool shot.
Tell your men that we are going out.
Was this a set or an actual house?
This is the house.
The house.
Except the part of the bathroom was built for that
Right.
over the tub
Yes,
shot.
that's right.
That was built.
That's right.
And oh wait, where are we now?
Oh, yes.
This was exciting to reintroduce all of this.
Look how beautiful that is. It's
It
like
is.
a space, like a lunar landing.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say it looks like a NASA.
It's great. It's a great set. And it looks great. I have to say, I think the sound does an awful lot for it.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Nick's work is beautiful.
Nick and yes, the whole sound team really does a remarkable job.
And how cool to go from that such a domestic, kind of neurotic, domestic, cozy, pink tile moment to that blue, industrial, harsh, clanging. Really good contrast.
Cave.
And we had to, this set had to be rebuilt from season 4.
Yes, it was a big challenge.
We haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah.
It's a big set.
It's huge.
I could put more guys on the place if that's
We
what
talked a lot about Gus's attachment to this place.
He dreams big.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be upstairs.
We'll see in a moment that he's hatching a plan, a complicated plan, and that Mike gives him space almost as you would, give people space to talk about something personal.
That seems to be where he gets the idea. That's just that moment there where he cocks his head.
Where the score comes in.
Yes, and Giancarlo is he's such a specific actor. It's when you're watching someone, it means so much if you can see their transitions and their thoughts in those silent moments. And this is, he and Melissa are doing such a wonderful job here.
And this needed to match to specifications in the next episode.
Well, actually,
or
not
a couple
even the next.
episodes future.
Episode 8.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Several future. And so there were a lot of conversations between Team 605 and Team 608, writers and directors and producers, to make sure that we were all on the same page, setting it up correctly so that it would pay off.
Right. It's interesting. I'm so proud of the fact, and people remark on the fact that we set things up and then pay them off many episodes hence. This season, I think we went as far as we can go because it's really tough to schedule these things and make sure they're going to work when you're shooting something months ahead, or in this case, shooting out of order, because I think this scene was actually shot closer to closer to the schedule, episode 8. So it's enough to make your head explode. I don't know how our production folks do it.
When I did the rewrite on this scene so that it would match up, I was actually out of town and I was on the road and I was driving, and my young teenage daughter was sitting next to me. We had a conference call and I asked her to take notes on Peter and Vince and Melissa, what everybody was saying. And I recently found a notebook, this notebook of hers, and I was flipping through and I was like, what is this? And I realized it was her notes for my rewrite on this.
Did you use the notes?
Of course.
That's excellent. That's good use. That's good use. Kids need that kind of work. Yeah.
The handwriting was messy, but the notes were very informative.
Nice.
This is
Porter's score here.
This was tricky. I think Dave's score really helps because it's a little bit. I mean, we're asking a lot of the audience because nobody's. Gus isn't saying out loud, I think I'll leave a gun here.
Yeah.
It's only a picture. And now here, wait a minute, where are we?
Deutschland.
We were very excited in the writer's room to think about cutting to a completely different environment, country, language, culture. And it was fun thinking of what these questions would be in the German quiz game. Here's our wonderful actress, Andrea Such.
Valentina Tereshkova.
She's so fantastic. You really get a sense of the life lived with Werner and the loss of him.
Yes.
What it's done to her in the time since he's been gone.
And you see why he was so crazy about her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was that was his downfall.
That was his fate, right?
He was desperately wanted to get together with his wife.
Mm-hmm. You're American. You get a sense there's endless evenings at the bar, just crossword puzzles and reading books.
And such a fun way to reintroduce Lalo.
Who we haven't seen since episode 1.
Exactly. We've been tormenting everybody with lack of Lalo.
Where's Lalo?
And Ein Martini, bitte.
And to have him re-enter as an American businessman in Germany.
Yeah.
Quite pleasing.
I almost visited there once.
I also like how we talked about, and Andrea played it beautifully, directed by Melissa, that she's not immediately
Interested.
taken. Yes.
Yeah.
It takes her a few minutes.
That's what I was wanting, the...
It took almost the trigger of hearing that word, that place, that suddenly
Exactly.
meant I'm having an emotional reaction. I don't know why.
Yes, it's you're so right. It's the association with her husband, that makes her sparkle.
Mm-hmm. Also, this bar is just wonderful, and I buy it as a German bar. It's actually, I believe it's a hotel bar.
Yes, that's right.
In a chain hotel.
Yeah.
And Denise Pizzini just did an amazing job of, some of the basics were there. Certainly the bar itself was there and the area behind the bar, but a lot of this is down to her beautiful work and Marshall Adams' amazing work. Marshall Adams, our brilliant DP, makes this hotel bar look like a romantic German bar, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, the lighting is beautiful and it feels so warm.
Hello, I'm Margareta.
Remember, we went through a lot of waves of music on this because we had tried some sort of Schlager music at one point, and that felt a little too kitschy. And then we tried some, sort of more jazz and instrumental stuff, but we felt like we'd used that so often in other areas. And we ended up with this sort of fun, electronic-y, modern pop thing that really felt real. And then it gets a little bit more romantic and a little bit warmer as these two square off and have their conversation.
He was able to save his man.
And fun to see Lalo, a different side of Lalo. He's having to use a different
skill set,
tools, exactly. And to see him be seductive and gentle.
What were they building?
It's interesting. We've had other characters do, I'm especially thinking about Mike, do kind of private detective type things like this and quiz people who didn't know that they were being quizzed. And Lalo's pretty good at it, but you can definitely see his frustration when things aren't going his way. And that worries me. It worries me very much for Marguerite because I don't know. She really is dancing with the devil here and she has no idea.
So my English is...
Oh, it's excellent.
Yes, and if audience worries about her, they're right to worry.
Yeah, ain't the truth.
There's a lot of discussion about the fate of this character.
And I think Melissa took very good use of the space. She really shows you a lot of the space that's available.
It's true. And it's just... And I love all the practicals back there. I think behind Lalo is actually a fake wall with a fake window, I believe. And it works great.
And so on. But not one of them showed his face.
It's a strange structure for an episode because, I think it was right around minute 30 we had our last look at Jimmy and Kim. And now it's really a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun to write for that very reason. Just shift gears so radically.
I feel like it created all this tension, not just this season, but all the seasons. The fact that there were these separate strands that occasionally touched. But now, this season is when things really cross over. And I think that's explosive. And we made everybody wait, and thank God they did. Now, how did you get this shot of Germany?
It was so cool. We all got on planes.
Yes.
And in the middle of COVID, we just zipped over to Germany. And here we were.
In fact, that's that previous shot, that wide shot, and one that's coming up are both matte paintings and special visual effects from Rodeo, our partners, a brilliant special effects partners, and they did a wonderful job. It's based on the actual house itself, and the part of the house that these two are in front of is real. But then once you draw back, probably more than 70% of the image is special effects.
And the house is so radically different architecturally than anything I've ever seen before in Albuquerque. And that's the genius of our locations team, how Christian found this place that you really believe is in a different country. It's pretty amazing.
That beautiful wide shot has got the two churches on top.
That's
a very nice, subtle way of saying we're in
The
Germany.
town in the distance looks great.
A lot of churches in Europe. I don't know if there are a lot of church goers, but there's a lot of churches.
There was some gasps in Video Village during that particular moment. Because the expression on Tony's face.
This is a wonderful visual effects shot, and of course, we're holding on it for a really long time, which I don't think we wouldn't have had the nerve to do this a few seasons ago. But once we started working with Rodeo, we had a lot of faith in what they could accomplish.
And is this the tram of your dreams?
This is.
I'm here on record saying that Peter Gould really wanted a tram, and a tram he got.
I did. There's nothing that says Europe more to me than actual mass transit that works, or not the States anyway. And that's a digital tram.
It looks great.
And the wires move, and I think the sound also really sells it. It's really wonderfully done.
It's very glamorous. You can hear the tram and you can catch the tram and you have barely left your home.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had a stunt double available for Tony, who was practicing the move he's about to do, and then Tony came in and was very skilled at doing it himself. So there he goes. No double required.
Amazing.
He made it look effortless.
Cool as a cucumber.
Yes. Isn't that the truth?
And here comes Little Bear.
Yeah. Bärchen.
Named in honor of Diane Mercer's dog, whose name is Bear.
Yes.
In Germany, Bear is not considered a cute name. So from my research, said a dog would not be named Bear, that would be considered scary. So I went with Little Bear.
And I like the way he charms the dog, too.
Yes.
Yes. At first you think he's going to come over and strangle the poor animal, but instead, now the dog loves him. It's just waiting for him to come back and talk to him some more.
In Germany, we get seductive Lalo.
Yes.
This space was really cool. This is still the actual location, and we all wish that we could kind of rent it as an Airbnb or something, because it was a very, very pleasant, pleasing space.
Very elegant.
Talked a lot about what Werner's office would look like. We really wanted to feel who Werner was as a guy in here.
Beautiful clock in the background there on the wall.
Yeah.
Pictures of his beloved.
Yeah.
And a lot of really beautiful little artistic touches and architectural touches and mementos.
But everything's in its place.
Yes.
It's not messy.
Yes.
These actual quality binders are very German.
And the drafting table, everything very specific. And of course, the cards written in German in different handwriting, as we do.
This is Mark Hansen's department. Mark Hansen, our prop master, and his team. Just a remarkable group of people. And it's no coincidence that a number of them have been promoted out of the prop department. We keep taking people like Trina Siopi, who is now a producer, a supervising producer, who used to be working in props. I think Mark misses her, but she does a great job as a producer.
And it's because of Trina and Mark and Chelsea and the props team that I have become a very annoying person when I watch television. I say things like, "There's nothing in that suitcase. That coffee cup looks too light."
Coffee cups drive me crazy.
Yes.
This is so beautifully staged and cut for suspense.
I love that we're in complete silence in this section.
Yeah, the music went away. That's such a Dave Porter signature that he comes and goes, and he finds very unusual places to come and go, but they're always right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the great gifts of the music spotting sessions is being surprised by the right solution as we talk through what we could do.
I like how you say that. It's like that happens in the writer's room as well. And this feels almost Hitchcockian.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kind of an obsession with lucite and things encased in lucite in this show, and I guess really be part of the family, I had to create something that would have an item encased in lucite.
I think it started when we put Tuco's grill in lucite.
It did.
It's yeah.
You got jumped into the gang with your lucite.
That's right.
I had
you're in the lucite gang.
Yeah, I had never used or perhaps even knew the word lucite before working on the show. And
everyone loses their innocence some way.
And now we get to know the process, how it actually
That's
happens.
right. Yeah. Yes. I watched that a how-to many times, try to understand. So she's spared.
Yes. Unbelievable.
Yes.
Is she? I think she is spared. Did he go out the window?
Yeah, he did. He's magical.
Wow. I believe him. He could go out the window.
He's like a cat.
Yeah.
And that's also, Melissa's signature, where the episode starts with a sliding mirror and closes with that sliding window.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Cool innovation.
Nice episode.
So lovely.
Yes.
Great job. Great. Congratulations on your Emmy nomination for this episode.
Thank you. Well, this show is the gift that keeps on giving. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for joining.
Of course.
For a great commentary for a great episode. And thank you all for listening.
We'll see you next time.